This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.
First of all, everybody here is awesome. I've seen the trailer. Yeah, we got an ambitious indie legal drama here. Is what we got. We got people who have been in every neck of the woods. They've done stage work. They've done music videos. They've done period dramas and other short films. That's more than any of us will do in this lifetime. So, but you're really good at it. So we have another member of Des Moines, Iowa, who's familiar with the film scene there. Gil, thank you for sending the invite out to this crew.
Yep. I'm just sorry to see James couldn't make it.
Yeah, but hey, that's all good. We'll coordinate with him too, and he's here in spirit. But we got producer Amy Nigg.
Hello.
Hello. Got cinematographer John Hansen.
Hi.
Eddie who? Okay. Got actress Remego.
Hi.
And we got Steven Sinclair.
Clint, hi. How are you?
Yeah, you got a hell of a role you're playing here.
Yes, sir.
Someone had to be the bad guy.
Someone. Yep.
We got PA and marketing designer Rachel Abel. Welcome.
Abel, yep.
Abel,
Hello.
Rachel Abel. Got Cheyenne Good.
Hi.
Someone had to be the sheriff's wife. Got wardrobe designer Devin Lukes. Is that how I say it?
Luke's. Yep.
Lukes, Devin Lukes. And lo and behold, screenwriter and director William Rock.
Hello.
I'm told you're built Ford tough,
Yes, like a rock.
but only on
Or
Tuesdays.
Your song, really.
Lovely, lovely. So they were organized here by someone we've been in contact with who, so Gil, you kept running into James Serpento at work, was it?
Yeah, I knew he was an actor for years, but yeah.
I was familiar with his movie Iowa, which he wasn't a big role in, but yeah, he's been staying busy with all other kinds of filmmakers. Thor, how do I pronounce that? Is Magino?
Marino. I
Moreno.
think.
No, Marino.
Yeah.
Or Marino he had worked with. This was a cool email to go back and forth, and we decided, hey, we'll talk about the beginnings of Fearless Cinema and some of his other production companies, but we'll let each of you promote this movie that's coming out in 2025, and we'll also do a fun game of no budget filmmaking disasters. Every guest gets to play this game, and don't worry, I'll go easy on you. You guys have actually been on a set, but I'll give you a film obstacle, which basically you'll solve. Everything will be going haywire, but you've been assigned to rescue a movie from certain destruction.
It's like a film set escape room. Is that what you're telling me?
It's a bit of that,
Yeah.
but it's kind of also, think of it like you would like Monopoly. Like there is no wrong answer. I'm only going to make it harder if I see people like kind of taking too long a beat. If you get my drift.
Okay.
There's so much hesitation. Like, I need more improv with you on this one. So basically, it's a fun game we played with other radio hosts and filmmakers and actors. Long story short, the gist of it is you're just rescuing a movie from certain disasters. Some movies are a crapshoot, but they end up being good because the right minds kept a lid on it, and kept it organized when. So the only rule is you can't just be like, screw it, I'm out. You got to solve this. You got to solve this movie that does not want to be solved. You got to make it shine. You got to make it become a diamond in the rough.
I'm interested already.
Okay, perfect. So I'll split it up for each of you. You guys are all the hidden fixers. You're all, you can assume anything. You can override anything, any position. You're just stopping a movie from just going to hell in a handbasket. So you are, the studio's creating a space opera epic show. And like many of the creators, you're working with people who don't understand the genre very well. They want to keep sexing up the cast. They're against the serialized storytelling. The network wants a soap opera meets CSI in space. No thanks. You and your crew want more elements like anime and just William Gibson type cyberpunk. The actors don't know their lines because it involves technical exposition, and the prop department is always late. The budget's fine, but it's draining the budget. Well, the effects are fine, but it's draining the budget. So what on earth do you do? I'm gonna let Rachel go first.
Oh, me. Okay. Well, I feel like so far this is Dungeons and Dragons for film.
There you go, see?
I'm going to take the path to the left.
Roll the die and hope you'll...
I'm going to roll the die, and I'm really hoping I roll high.
Okay, perfect. So first off, you have the actors just politely say, okay, let's recast you in roles that don't involve having sci-fi fantasy mumbo jumbo dialogue. Let's just have you be warrior numbers, 1 through 10. You're in every episode, but you're not going to say any science exposition because you're just not good at it. It's nothing against you.
Okay. So, what's my next move?
Oh, well, perfect. So next thing you know, the head of production gets fired by another studio exec who doesn't know what he's doing. Bree, can you come in and light a fuse here?
Well, we need to bring on if we're going space opera, we need to definitely bring on a top-notch composer.
Okay, perfect.
Who's really really up and coming, so not too expensive.
Perfect. Someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows another person at Amazon says, I know just the guy.
Yes. Like my roommate's cousin once. Yeah.
Perfect. Oh boy. So it's going smoothly, but then said composer gets a heart attack.
Oh no.
But you got the finished files, but you're gonna have to deal with his estate. So Devin, what do you do to just make sure this is actually getting done on time?
Well, since I deal with costumes and everything rather than production side of stuff, I have no expertise in that whatsoever. I would defer
that's the
to
beauty.
anyone.
You're doing everybody's job. You're like assistant producer.
But just making sure everybody has what they need, especially costume-wise, somewhat props-wise if they have specific stuff they need, and help as much as I can.
That actually makes a big difference. So all these props from nothing give a lot of inspiration. The actors go less method and go more just, hey, how would we do this? How would we do that? Hey, let's make this more organized in how we stage everything. Okay, so William and John, your technicians are always late. And the assistant cinematographer is too distracted on his phone. What do you do to make sure he can actually shoot the hell out of this green screen epic?
I just Cameron. That's probably out of our budget, though, isn't it?
Nothing's impossible here. So you contact
John.
Okay, so you contact James's estate, and he politely refers you to someone he used to know in high school who's actually still working for free.
Well, that's good. I mean, a lot of the people hungry and on their way up are probably willing to put in the time to try and make this happen, and so maybe we throw it to a bunch of amateurs and
Perfect. He says, I know someone Dean Cundy of Jurassic Park fame knows. Maybe he can help me.
get him on the phone, have him talk to Rachel.
He makes sure to blacklist this fool, and now cameras are back online. Boom.
At the end of the day,
You're
John's
welcome.
cats are always in for joining the best
Oh.
actors in town.
Cats? Nice.
Yeah, the cats.
Okay, perfect. So
Space cats, then, I guess.
second unit, yeah, it can be cats with cameras on their back.
Space Cats worked for Marvel, so I don't see
Space
why
cats.
it wouldn't work for us.
See, I have 2 cats I can model costumes on for your cat, so I think it'll work out.
Love it.
I've got 2 I can lend to the cause as well.
Put the cats in little space
One
marine.
keeps trying to come on.
Do they have lasers for eyes?
Oh, there you go. Laser cats. I love it. Okay.
I have plenty of EVA foam. I can make some of that Space Marine armor for them. That'll work.
There you go. Perfect. So Devin makes that move after John and William get the cameras online and actually shoot 5 episodes. And you attract a cosplay community who will work for free and help you find cheaper props that look more theatrical. Alrighty,
Perfect.
so Cheyenne and Clint. There's still a few actors who are being a problem and attracting the attention of TMZ. What do you do to tell them, hey, there is no take 2? Like, we're shooting real fast. We need you to know your lines. What do you do to get the actors in line with the rest of the professionalism?
I guess I would tell them that the budget is small as it is. We're probably already having to deal with a lot of miniatures rather than the fuller size, which sometimes miniaturized sets or miniaturized special effects can work better than those CGI things. Practical effects always wins over. But don't waste people's time. You wouldn't want your time wasted.
Perfect.
But
Yeah.
more tactfully,
Stay
more
professional.
politely, of course. Yeah, stay professional.
Stay
Okay.
It's all
professional.
good to
Keep
have-
working.
Yeah.
And
It's
tell
all
them
good
they
to
don't
have
want to see
fun.
John at the end of the day.
Mm.
Okay, perfect. So everybody follows Cheyenne's lead. Everybody wants to be on Clint's level. And John makes sure to go to one guy who keeps misbehaving. This
Set an
prop could outact you if it really wanted to. And that guy gets his shit in order. Boom. Okay.
Sometimes it's not about the words. It's about getting the point across.
Yeah,
I
it's the
know.
Right.
emotion.
That's fair.
Show them on your face.
For
Yep,
those who
your
can't see,
character,
pets
come
are actually
on.
taking over this set.
Oh, yeah.
The cat is there.
Okay, so
Mine are
Amy,
thankfully locked out.
perfect. Okay, so Amy, Rachel, and Bree. Everything's in the can, but some of the effects didn't come through. What's plan B?
Plan B for the effects is Zoom backgrounds.
Love it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it.
John
Always defer to
John and
Rachel.
William bite their teeth and say, "We'll do better next season."
And the high school AV club.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. There
So
you
for
go.
the final Midas touch, Gil, you're getting a Webby nomination for this thing, but the studio still needs your take on just something to spice it up and promote it on radio and TV. What campaign do you do?
What, to spice it up?
Yeah, well, just like as a crowdfunder or just some other slogan that will get people's attention.
Better than Star Wars.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
So Gil goes on local Des Moines, Iowa radio and says, "Hey guys, this is better than Star Wars." He doesn't follow
Than the
it,
Christmas special.
even and to where it renders every shock jocks just mouth to gape open, just like what? And they say, "You know what? I'll put money into this if you're so into."
And we have more Muppets.
We have
Okay,
more Muppets.
perfect. So you get some Jim Henson trainees who want to do some puppeteering. Perfect. So
I
I've
made a
always
film
wanted
like
to
this.
try my hand at making a puppet, so
there
I
you
can make
go.
some, I bet.
Got some
There's foam on
puppeteering
these
background.
walls.
There you go.
Yeah. There's foam on these walls. Can use that.
There you go. So as a result, you get an even bigger crew of film students who want to get their first credit out in the door. You get 5 more Webby Awards, and the script gets a Pulitzer nomination.
Hmm.
They love the social commentary in it, which is what any good sci-fi should be.
True.
Congrats, you win the game. Not a single person hesitated there.
Hey.
I loved it.
I actually made a film like that in college. So
Whoa!
Ooh.
Now we need to know.
Did it have space cats in it, Will?
Did space
I'm trying to remember-
puppets?
there was a puppet, yes. So the idea was that it was like a Waiting for Guffman style mockumentary
Whoa!
about a bunch of very not qualified filmmakers in the middle of Iowa trying to make a Star Wars style epic space opera.
In the spirit of the room.
Yeah. So we
No one else is
actually
going to know what I'm
had-
talking
Oh, we know what the room is.
about. Okay, good.
John made sure of that.
Cheyenne and Clint were. I wasn't sure.
I did not.
I
did not.
I did not kill her.
How not to take a beat. I did not.
You mean you
Not
guys
with
saw
her.
the room?
Well, more like wish it didn't. But no, it's all good. It's a perfect. Wait, we were talking about. That's a perfect example of a filmmaker evolving in reverse chronological order. Like he gets the worst movie out of his system, he gets free publicity, and now he's trying to make legit movies.
Hmm.
Yeah. Any publicity is good publicity.
I guess so. Well, that's a good question. I did want to also ask you guys. So, because there's all these other options now, what do you think the new slogan is now for like, or just like indicator that something's been somewhere? Like it used to be as seen in like TV Guide or Popular Mechanics, as seen on whatever channel. Would as seen on Tubi or Netflix be as good anymore, or do we got to go beyond that? We still got to do the festival accolade.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what kind of movie you're doing. I
Is
think there's
Redbox
def-
still a good avenue, or is it harder now that they've filed Chapter 11 and kind of downsizing?
Yeah, I'm not sure, honestly.
Oh.
I mean, it changes. Even which festivals are the festivals has shifted a little bit over the years.
Yep.
So
Gotcha. So, Director Rock, what ignited your passion in studying film?
just the ability to tell stories visually. It's just having a really active imagination, being able to take something that doesn't exist and make it a reality.
Lovely. Just make something from anything, make it bigger than it is.
I'll tell you, it takes a certain kind of drive for that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it's crazy. There's that.
Did you have a good university?
I went to Iowa State, which was very much just we did a lot of guerrilla filmmaking, so it was.
I love it.
It was a lot of just running around with the camera. And
Isn't it amazing what shortcuts you can have? Like, let's go to the mall, which is code word for let's get out of here. Someone in security has spotted us and is going to ask us to turn the camera off. But you can still make it be legit. Like we're filming on the side of the highway, then we're going to get back in and go to the place which we do have a permit for.
With Iowa, I'm sure there's a lot of open spaces.
Well, I hope so. As a graduate of UTA, it was a very closed-minded community. Like this will blow you guys' mind. They refused to let us take filmmaking and broadcasting. We had to pick one or the other. What sense does that make when there's all this crossover? If it's just like rivalries and egos with the professors, it's like, well, you might get better screenwriting if we're in the broadcasting department. Just letting you know. It didn't make any sense.
Interesting, yeah. Iowa State doesn't have a film program. It's only broadcasting. And so all of the folks that I worked with were either in the theater program or they were in the broadcast journalism department. So they all got their filmmaking experience from broadcast journalism.
Well, there you go. See, sounds like a well-oiled machine over there.
Oh yeah, it's just different type of storytelling,
right? Bree, who's your favorite actors, and did you have any mentors that got you into wanting to act on stage and on film?
That's a hard one. I started. I'm a musical theater, specifically musical comedies. That's kind of my jam. Nice. I loved watching growing up Carol Burnett, like old reruns of Carol Burnett and
workplace comedy.
Yes, of course. And really enjoyed making people laugh on stage. Like that brings me a lot of joy. So, yeah, I grew up in a musical and a theatrical family, and just it was always there.
Lovely.
So, yeah.
Was it kind of by accident that you decided I want to make this my major, or was that kind of always your hunch? Like, I want to do some kind of...
I wanted to be a meteorologist until I was about 16.
Whoa! Hey!
Yeah. So until I
see that star in the sky?
Yeah.
That's me, guys.
Yeah. So until I realized that I was spending all of my time in the choir room, the band room, the orchestra room, in the theater wing, I was like, wait a minute. I wasn't in the science and math rooms. So yeah, decided I went to Luther and have a degree in music education, and I'm a music teacher by day. So
there we go. Hey.
Yeah. When I went to a drama school after I'd been teaching for 3 years, I went to a summer intensive drama school in London because I realized that I wanted to do more of that and get better at it.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Love it. Love it. And again, who can predict this?
Right.
So, Cheyenne, you have also done costumes designs in addition to acting. How did you get your foot in the door on material like that?
So the costuming that I did was more so just helping out with a 48-hour. I did do some costuming in college because you had to do a little bit of everything for the theater degree. So I helped make some costumes for a children's production. I think it was for the Adventures of Maid Mary, and I helped make the.
Oh, you did a take on the Robin Hood legend.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. I helped make the costumes. I also acted in that, but
I saw that James was also part of the 48-hour thing. Was that how many of you guys met?
No, we met through a couple different productions, but actually through Thor
Marino.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome.
So that's fun.
Film buds for life. Love it.
Yep.
Did anyone get
really
involved
great to work with?
Did anyone get involved with? I shouldn't have interrupted you. But,
go ahead. Go.
Did anyone meet him through like his teaching? Because I heard that he's been doing some teaching too.
Yeah. So
no. Okay.
No. Right. Okay. Well, cool.
I think Stephanie did. I think she had talked about that this weekend, actually, that she had taken one of James's classes.
Lovely.
I think you're right.
Lovely. So, Clint, how long have you been acting? Have you been doing stage or film first?
Yeah. I actually did stage first. I've done a mixture, but actually since I was a child. I first was on stage at 8 singing. Actually, I started in church. That's where I got my start singing. And the very first thing I did was they glued on a fake mustache and I played Zacchaeus. So, and then all through school I did. And then I actually went to school for broadcasting also at Iowa
Professional
Central.
baseball.
Yeah, I did work in the minor leagues and did play-by-play in professional baseball. But while I was in college before I got that job, I did that. But I also was in the dramas and in the show choirs and all that stuff too. So I stayed performing throughout that. And then it was a bunch of community plays and musicals, and then slowly started shifting back to got some opportunities in the film these last couple of years. So.
How did the radio voiceover opportunities come along?
That just from the experience in the radio from after the broadcasting stuff in professional baseball, came back home and I continued to do local radio stuff. Ended up being also a news director and sports director. So just having the voice out there, opportunities arose, and when they come, I take them sometimes not.
Hey. I gotta ask you, pressure's on. You're in a movie about the abolitionist John Brown,
Yeah.
and that's with Eddie McClintock. Gil will love this, from Warehouse 13 and a bunch of other names. How's that one coming along?
That one is now out, not on all streaming yet, but you can find the full movie at YouTube. You can also find it at jcplus.tv right now, so you can see that one.
Okay, nice.
But yeah, that was very fun. We shot that one last March in the freezing cold down in Sabetha, Kansas, on a museum site. It was very cool. Lots of horses. We had some amazing horses involved in this film too. So it's going to be a good one.
What was the name of that film again?
John Brown the Advocate.
Yeah.
Unless it gets retitled. I don't know.
Nope, it's staying that way now, I think.
Shut up, pass. Love it. Okay. Well, so Rachel, were you into marketing first, or were you eyeing film design, or?
Yeah, actually, so I got my start in graphic design and marketing, and I own a branding and design company that we've had for almost 12 years now. But I actually first got my start in film through John, who's doing all the camera work and cinematography. We worked together before I opened up the business, and I was kind of a graphic design department of a couple of people in an architecture firm, and he was a video department of one. And so we teamed up and helped each other. And I learned how to lug around a lot of equipment that I didn't know how to use. And over several years, started getting a little bit better at it. And then I joined the 48-hour team. So when you brought up 48-hour film project, that is how I know several of the people on this team, is through that avenue. Really, I mean, I've always been a film fan, grew up a movie fan. And I think that just really opened a lot of doors, and seeing the behind the scenes and how everything happens and comes together. I think that's why I gravitated towards this, helping out with the production end, is seeing it all come together and putting all of those pieces, helping put all those pieces together. I'm not the talent side. I'm not behind the camera, but I really enjoy helping out with the organization and seeing it all come together and helping then promote that at the end with that marketing side.
I'm glad you're bringing up those key details. I see so many who just gloss over unit production management, just our locations.
It's a big part of it.
And they just want to gloss over. It's who's starring? It's well, if the actor drops out, you got to have some vision underneath it. You got to have.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, none of this would happen without Amy too, who's the main producer on it. And
Yes.
I mean, we're sending out, she's given call sheets every day and who needs to be where and locations. And, again, when you're when you're making independent films and you're on tight budgets, it's who do you know, who can you call, who can you line up, how many favors can you ask? And that's a tough job and a tough ask. So it's it's a lot of work behind the scenes to make that stuff happen and come together.
I'm glad, Amy, you have the patience for it because, well, no, just legit, just like figuratively, because like you already know who's on the same page versus who's going to probably flake out versus who needs to kind of rein in their persona a bit. It's just like, if you're sending this in advance, there shouldn't be any confusion.
Yeah.
I've been on chaotic movie sets, which I hope stay buried, to be frank, just because no one respected each other's time. And I was just like, well, I'm not going to promote this. This is going to be a dead project that I don't speak about. So,
yeah. Thankfully, I don't have to say that because we have been very fortunate in this this endeavor. This cast and crew is absolutely incredible. So I'm very happy and proud to be part of it.
What was your major first? Was it finance or was it film directing or?
Oh my gosh, no! Like I don't even know how I stumbled. No, I stumbled into
this. Is what I love. Everyone wears a different hat. I mean, Will is and John.
I have no film.
Hats,
Yeah, I have no film background. I have no real theater background. I'm always kind of a behind the scenes kind of person. Literally have a stomach ache just talking on this podcast because I hate being on camera.
Okay, well,
anything.
It's just audio, so but
good.
I'll give a video copy for anyone who wants it. But
so anyway, I got involved with movies through John.
But
as well.
I feel your pain. I really do. There is nothing worse when you are telling people like you've done a pitch and you've lost them. It's just like, okay, you're looking at me like I'm a weirdo. I really don't want any of that negative energy, but you asked. I don't know how else to humanize this.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to make sense of this. This is what I do.
Yeah.
Not like I one time was pitching an idea and someone looked like I had committed bloody murder. I'm like, oh, good grief.
The worst moment.
Watch a film documentary, buddy. I don't know what else to tell you. I'll stop bringing it up. I'll tell you what I do at my boring day job. That's better. So Cheyenne and Clint, who are the best actors of all time? I seriously want to know. Like, I will see sometimes like trends, and I one time was in theater class, and I had a pal who they were just obsessed with this one YouTube host. This is the 2010s. Sometimes it's fun seeing other people who are just kind of a stand-up comedian just because they are fearless. They bombed so many times, now they got it. They got that aura where a commanding presence. They might even want to do dramatic transition.
Man.
Do you want me to go first or do you want
There's
me to
no wrong answer.
First.
It's your take. It's not like I asked you for a hot take. No hot takes here. We're taking positive.
I don't know if he's the best actor. That's really hard, but
it can just be someone you want to see every movie they're in.
I just have an obsession with Vincent Price, and I am not.
There you
quiet
go.
about it.
See, hey,
yeah.
You and my wife.
I just love all of his movies. They are my comfort films. I watch them over and over.
He has that voice, even when he's the bad guy. Is like, listen to what I'm going to say before I kill you.
He's so good at comedy too. He has great comedic timing. He can be over the top, but he can also be subtle. And he's just
grandparents know him from Hammer. Your kids know him from the Muppets. It's a good transition here.
I am a TV and movie addict, so I watch a lot. I don't know if I can necessarily choose, but I really respect Hugh Jackman, how he gets into character. I played Curly in Oklahoma once, and I found his Broadway version, and just the way he gets into character in his parts, I really do enjoy.
I did see that TV version, which does come on Masterpiece Theater still to this day, and it is just like, how did he know where to look at the camera and sing that verse in that order, and then transition back to the speaking? Right? Yeah. If you like, well, then you'll like one of his new family dramas that's out, and I recommend The Front Runner. It's a politician scandal he's in, and my cousins were actually big fans of the movie Butter because it was just kind of very Fargo-ish. It's like, see, that's so funny, him being a idiot sheriff with all these other colorful people, and again, ensemble. But no, those are good. I like both you guys' picks because those are kind of inseparable actors. You'll see people who only want to know the latter because of the big blockbuster epics, but haven't seen anything else he's in. And Vincent's is another good example. I would see people who would kind of treat him like he was almost kind of a comedy troupe. They're like, they only knew about him because of the Hammer horror guys he was with. I'm like, well, he shouldn't. This isn't a contest. He's with Lee, Cushing, and
what you mean they didn't see his Brady Bunch appearances?
Oh wow! See, right? The Thriller music video, yeah.
Yeah. Or his really early stuff like Shock or Dragonwick. He can do drama too.
Gil and I are Mystery Science Theater guys. We went to The Mads Are Back, which has the Mad Scientist actors, and one of the first movies they did was God, it wasn't The Crawling.
Tingler?
The Tingler, yes.
Yeah.
He's playing a reprehensible human being, and you kind of feel sorry for him still. So that's a talent.
Yeah, the first one I saw was Glenn or Glenda.
Oh yeah, you went the way of Ed Wood. Okay, so John, man, you've overseen a music video. What got you into photography in general? Like what made that creativity spark for you?
Well, I went to college for graphic design and fine art.
See, there's a trend. I love it.
And then I went to work at a tape factory for 2 years. But I don't know. I've always liked film. I had a Super 8 camera when I was a kid. I did stop motion animation and things like that.
No.
Saw
So you
that
learned the
48-hour thing, and we did that, and it's just been doing that ever since.
Isn't it
Working with
lovely?
Rachel Carty. Yeah.
Not only are you kind of learning what camera tricks you can use to as trickery, but also literally creatively seeing what sticks with the story. Like, you'll buy this.
Trying to make whatever Will's vision is come out is what we're trying to do the most, you know.
How did you two meet? Was that the 48-hour thing, or?
Yeah, so I had some friends from Iowa State that have done 48 hours for many years, and they've won the Des Moines 48 hours a couple times. And I reached out to them originally just to ask if they were interested in helping out, and they have full-time jobs and a kid, and so they said no, but you really need to talk to John Hanson because he's great.
Nice.
Yeah. Yes, Marnie said you're fantastic, and she's right. Nice. So yeah, I just reached out to John and said, "Hey, Marnie said we should talk about my film." Yeah, we met for lunch, and I think by the end of lunch, we were already like mapping out storyboards. So
sweet. I love it. So Devin, I asked the magical question. Versace, Chanel, Armani, or Calvin Klein? Who wins in a fight?
None of them.
None of them. They're all overrated. Love it.
Worst, maybe.
You win. Nice.
I don't know, maybe my background is in history, really.
Nice. Oh,
So-
see? Hey.
Yeah, so I actually work at Living History Farms in Urbandale doing the period clothing there.
Whoa.
After getting a degree in history, minoring in public history with a certificate in museum studies, I wanted to work in museums. But
For
at
those
the
who
end of
don't know,
college,
that's a Midwest museum.
yeah.
I'll
A
be sure to
living
link it.
history museum, really. And I got really into fashion history at the end of college, and I already knew how to sew, and I taught myself a bunch of different crafts and things. And this job popped up there, and I was like, oh, that's perfect. And then that's how Amy got a hold of me, because they were filming some things there. And yeah, I don't really know a lot about the modern fashion people. I know the names, but I could care less about.
That's all right. They're overrated.
fashion.
Anyway, but no,
Yeah,
see,
a little bit.
but see, this is what I love too. Is just like, so you already got this attention to detail, and so this is becoming a big. This isn't just the job title. Like, this is cool that you're already doing kind of just live entertainment, and now you're working into indie film. So, that's cool though. Like actual people in costume. It's more than just a recreation, reenactment of a battle, or even a wax museum. It's
I was looking at that trailer, and I was actually wondering if some of that was filmed at Living History Farms. Yeah.
Yep.
We may or may not be able to say that. That's awesome.
I was a little worried as I said that, to be honest. But
sorry.
Anything you want omitted, I will be the guilt.
Secure undisclosed location.
Okay. See, I love that. See, most people would have been no comment or a bland neglect answer. And here's the thing: when Gil and I got into this podcast, I love editing. The average person I talk to, they're like, I hate it. I'm like, well, that's not a great attitude. That makes
You may get hired, so be careful about that.
Right? There you go. What if the millionaire cousin of some other guy you're working with is like, hey, I like how you speak. I want to hire you.
Are you the cousin's dog to someone that we know?
No, but I just like making fun of it. It's always the most dumbest reason you get hired. You're not complaining about the work, but you're like, they said that? What? No, I still keep in touch with some of my famous friends. I actually just talked to about 5 months ago to Joe Estevez, who is Martin Sheen's younger lookalike brother. And I will see any movie he's in. It's half the time it's a bad movie, but
I would have gone for a higher ratio than that, but okay.
He can give you a performance and raise it to some level. We just lost Tony Todd, the Candyman, and Star Trek favorite. So there's all these people who might be B level, but they're giving A-list level acting. And do you guys ever have to have you ever had to unfriend yourselves from like certain snobs where you're like, good grief, just make something good. Don't, I would get very annoying guys who are like, if it's not Nolan level, I don't want to make it. And it's just like, well, good luck. You shouldn't have to be like turncoat or just switch personas based on who you're working with. It's like a little niceness goes a long way.
Good or bad, I love them all.
Well, that's it too. Yeah. It's like if you want to be the straight video guy, then you got your work cut out for you. If you want to be the festival guy, that's fine too. I'm finding a lot of like people are now judging stuff by its cover before it's even out. And I talked to the Thailand director who has helmed a bunch of Mark Dacascos martial arts movies. He got his great big break and that was it, with Ballistic X versus Sever, Antonio Banderas spy movie, and then went back to Thailand. That movie got taken away from him, but instead of just moaning and being like, damn you, Hollywood, he just kept trucking on and doing all different types of commercials and everything. So it is funny seeing people who have had their moment and then just for whatever reason, like it wasn't to be. And have you ever had to kind of just thwart awful questions like what's your budget, or who you're working with? It's like, well, that's irrelevant. I'm making something I have a passion for. Will you help me?
Yeah, I mean, I have some friends that don't. Some folks from my hometown that are like, well, is there anybody famous in your movie? And like, we have some we have some award-winning cast and crew attached to this. Yeah, I mean it's Iowa. We're not getting Hugh Jackman in this thing, but like we have good people. Yeah.
Right. And that's the other thing too. I'm seeing people complain about digital. And it's like, well, that's kind of here to stay, guys. Sorry, that's the new look. It seems like they'll hate on digital because they've seen it done poorly. And it's like, well, anybody can do something bad. You can't tell me there's not something shot on film that wasn't overexposed at one time, the famous battle in Predator. They hated shooting that whole sequence that composes most of the movie because someone put in the wrong film stock and speed, the second unit. But it worked. It actually works better, but I see so many people, they want to waste endless hours. They make just one mistake. It's like, well, you're not going to get those guys back. You're telling them they didn't do a good enough job the first time. unless you absolutely got to reshoot it just because someone
Have
filled
it.
dialogue. Yeah.
We'll return after these messages.
Hey, it's Brent Pope, the host of Breakfast with Brent Pope. You've seen me on some of your favorite TV shows saying things like, "Give it up, Jimmy. You got to sink this putt to win." On Breakfast with Brent Pope, I sit down with guests from the entertainment world, and we do it all over breakfast. Or should I say Brentfast? Every week on Brentfast, you get inside Hollywood info and tips, great breakfast recs and booty debates. Most of all, you get the most delightful 30 minutes of your week. So dig in. It's Brentfast time. Listen at Brentfast.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever fine podcasts are found.
Do you ever find yourself thinking about who would win in a fight between Goku and Superman? Hi, I'm James Gavsey, and on the Who Would Win show, me and my co-host Ray ignore anything important happening in the outside world and debate fictional battles between characters from comics, movies, and video games.
We got a new show every week, and almost always am I the winner.
Yeah, not true, Ray.
In the past, we've discussed such matches as Captain America versus Darth Vader, Solid Snake versus the Iron Giant, classic matchups like RoboCop versus Terminator, and even the Muppets versus Sesame Street.
That one was crazy. So if you're a fan of geek culture and love a spirited debate, check out the Who Would Win show wherever you get your podcasts, or check us out at whowouldwinshow.com.
Did you guys have any happy accidents yourselves on the film? You made it?
Happy accidents, like something that we didn't intend to. I mean, we've had to do a few things that that we didn't. I mean, I've always been like, hey, if you know, when I first wrote the script, I didn't intend to film it myself. So there's some stuff in there that's like, okay, we actually can't do that. So one of the scenes we filmed this past weekend, you know, was supposed to be a whole separate location, a whole separate house with a whole separate farm and a dog and on all of this. And it's like, well, none of that is going to work. So we're actually like, hey, we're actually going to dress this one corner of this barn and make it look like a really old rustic kitchen, almost, sort of, or like a shed, like a lean-to that's attached to a house, and we're just going to only film it from this angle. And I think it worked pretty well. We
really a lot of cheating angles.
Oh yeah.
Really see, why is it that when you use the word cheat, people act like, oh, we're playing them for fools? It's like, well, it's make pretend, it's make believe. Just like you get a 2-man play and they're playing multiple roles. You know, it's like, well, we got to make something that's not.
Yep, it's a workaround. It's a creative workaround. You're not cheating. You're improvising.
Will definitely wrote too many horses and dogs and children and frogs into the script, though.
Yes, there are a lot of animals in the script. Yeah, Amy has said that I'm not allowed to put any kids or animals in the next script. We have horses and dogs and a bird and a frog.
See, I love this role setting. I had a wonderful screenwriting professor, Carl Smith, no relation, who his only other film experience was like doing PA work, and one of them happened to be Bernie, the Richard Linklater film.
Oh wow! Okay. Yeah.
And he had a great rule. He would be like, absolutely no excrement. You can imply it. I don't want any gross. None of that.
Yeah, I want to add that rule, Will. That needs to be added.
You'll love this. He had
I'm
another
100% behind that rule also, I think. Yeah.
He had another fun rule, which was no guns. And it didn't have anything to do with the movie. He just wanted us to be more creative. And it's so funny. He gave us a heist plot and he said, you come up with how it begins and ends. And one person's snuck in a knife and he's like, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Me and my screenwriting buddies, we just got back together for a heist spy film we've been writing. We've gotten every single obstacle thrown in front of us and interrupted. And a lot has changed digitally. So we all basically were to the final act and we decided, well, we got to worry about these security cameras and how they're even getting in on this heist. You know, they got to be more stealthy. They can't power down the building. because then they can't get the digital stuff they're stealing. Yeah. So we are writing ourselves out of our corner, literally. And it's been a fun journey. But now we've had to have some of the guys who pitched it into the beginning is like, you got to come back. You got to help us go to wait. We know how it absolutely ends. I can't give any of it away. But damn it,
you can edit it out. You can tell us, and then just, cut it.
I really wanted to fill it, but let's just say the twist was earned. Like, someone who's been doing all these mob killings unofficially joins the heist crew at the very end. And we had to have that be earned. We didn't want to have too many suspects because, again, you can only have so much interest with an ensemble before you confuse the hell out of everybody. And it's just like, okay, we're not suffering fools. We're not doing any other dumb stuff. Here's the villain. Here's the secondary subplot that'll creep its way slowly into the finale. And we're worried about making this filmable. So like, I estimate 5 locations. Probably private business owners, and get a few skylines of the Dallas city, and let's move on. But so how do you and John pace yourself in the editing room? I always love hearing stories about this because, again, people like to have a negative connotation. It's like, well, no, that's where the movie's made. And do you just like pace yourself, walk around, take a coffee break and then come back?
So far, we're just on the very beginning parts of editing, and I've been kind of putting out little tiny excerpts of my editing so the cast can see it and kind of see how things are going and stuff. We're going to try and have the editing done by March, or I think actually Will wanted it done by February or something, which is crazy. But it's going pretty good. A lot of it's concentrating on sound because there's this street that goes by the front of the building, and it's loud all the time. Like cars are going. It's like it's this location, but
getting that room tone, that outside tone. That's hell on earth.
Yeah. But so far it's going good. I'm trying to do a scene a day. It's basically what it is.
Hey, see, and with even starting these scenes, I can't tell you how many people I just didn't help. I just abandoned projects just because not only did they not have a vision, but they couldn't even give you like an idea of what they wanted the scene or even a shot list or some pre-visualizations. Like, okay, if you don't want, if the laziest one I would get is I'm not an artist. I'm like, well, just do stick figures. Just show us where we are in the scene. Just something, or take a scene from a movie that you're thinking, and we'll turn our brains off and see what you're thinking. Just something. Some visual reference. And nothing. I would get, well, I don't know. What do you think? You're the guy in charge.
Did you guys have storyboarding on that?
Or a shot list?
John's storyboards are quite famous. We've written probably I think probably what's going to be one of the best scenes of the film is something that John's chicken scratched out on scratch paper. As I was just like, as we were like ad-libbing it, we had about half an hour to while folks were getting into costume to plot this thing out before we lost all daylight to get it filmed. And I think it's about 8 shots in that shot list. We fit all of that onto one piece of paper. And I think we had
one
about
piece of paper. Love it.
14 minutes left on the video card. And when we wrapped that final shot, we were down about 8 seconds of video that we had.
No, Will, we shot that whole thing with 90 seconds worth of film left on the car.
And isn't it, I don't want to say annoying. I don't want to sound like this is a complaining panel, but it is kind of difficult when you have to kind of tell everyone at their own discretion. It's like, okay, 1 minute equals a page. That's just easier for you to write it. And then having to tell everybody, okay, but the scene might be longer than that. It's wherever the dominoes fall, it's just, just give yourself a template to build off.
there's scenes that are 2 pages long, and it's just it's some dialogue back and forth, and it's like, okay, we do a wide master, then we do a couple over the shoulders, and and we're done. And then we have scenes that are not even a half a page, and it ends up being 10 shots to get it. So
what really helps is the actors are just amazing on this. They know their lines forwards and backwards, and a lot of times they'll come in and they'll know how they almost want to be blocked, because they've worked it out themselves.
Hey.
Yeah, it's great. It's awesome.
No, see, they didn't teach us blocking at all in my college, and I'm still bummed about that. It's like that would have saved me so much time.
You're not the only one. I have heard that from multiple people who went to film school and then were like, I learned nothing about blocking in film school.
I was like, what are you talking about? Let's just shoot. Oh, in proportion to the camera, the staging, all that. And I only learned about staging from watching Ron Howard's masterclass, and that's years after. I'm like, good grief. Why did it take that long for me to learn that invaluable skill?
Well, I came from primarily a theater background, and that was, once you get your lines down, which you do try to as soon as possible, like all you're doing is blocking, learning the blocking. Okay, this is downstage, upstage, and that's how you cheat to the audience so they can actually see your face and that
see where they are and what you'll see. It's just easy for everyone to know and have, because like not everyone, and especially when it's an indie film, not everyone has the monitor.
Well, there's that, yeah.
Clint, do you have any recommendation on when you see yourself on film? And I know it's awkward for everybody, it's just like, it's unwanted attention, it's bringing my attention to something I don't want. How do you kind of just look at it more objectively? You're like, okay, I see where I am in the scene.
Yeah, I think you just, if you're watching yourself, if that's the question, I think you just have to objectively, I just engross myself into movie, TV shows anyway. So if that's the goal, you just engross and watch and act like you're a character like you were when you were playing it. I guess I've got a long time where I've gotten used to it because as a broadcaster, you got to get used to hearing yourself in headphones, and no one likes to hear their own voice when it comes back. So you really got to get used to doing that audio wise. So then I guess I had a head start doing that when you watch yourself on video.
I like my voice, except when I give a stupid joke, which I omit properly. Get that out of here.
Well, I know the first time I heard myself on this podcast, I was like, is that what I really sound like?
I was like, you sound great. And you're like, oh, no.
It's just a process you got to get used to. But I think you just sit back and say, it's done. I'm watching it just like it's somebody else and just take it in.
There you go. Bree, I know everybody does all kinds of exercises. I'm sure when everyone at one point had to give a speech, you did like a tongue twister or practice in front of the mirror. Write down the lines so it's committed to memory. What have been your skills that you've always just sworn by for any gig, any acting?
If it's a lot of dialogue, I write it down and I write the cue and then I write my line. So I have the tactile there. More recently, because I've got about a 30-minute commute to our set, I've been recording my lines and listening to them as I drive to kind
of wise.
Reconnect them. So I've learned them, and then I'm getting the oral, and so there's different learning
digital
styles
recorders. There. They still sell those. I just
do it on voice memos, and then I play it in my car, which is also like, ew, that's what I sound like. But whatever, you get over it.
I did that for every kind of college class. All the relevant test stuff would be in the last 20 minutes, and you're like, I'm so glad I taped that.
Yes,
that's not in the book.
So those are my main. Obviously, if you have someone handy to run lines, that's also helpful. But yeah, so yeah, I found that that's the best thing for me right now is the recording and listening to. I'm definitely an oral learner, so
that's dynamite. That's great. So Cheyenne, have you ever had to flesh out character backstory or motivation, and do you have any tips on that?
actually, for this film, I did a lot of character backstory work. Stephanie and I got together during one of the rehearsals and found out we were very much on the same page with our characters' backstories, shared backstories. And so that helped out a lot too. That was really fun. My tips for that is just, especially if the character doesn't have a lot of backstory.
Right. Hence the point of it, you know?
Yeah.
Because you never know if they'll give you an extended scene or want you to add a little line. Is like, well, this is what I built up from all this studying, you know. And have you ever found that like just simple 2-line like speeches are like even more difficult? Because like,
absolutely, I
don't know what
mess
else
up
to
my
add to that
short
guy.
lines more than I ever have my speeches. Oh my goodness, yeah. But what I like to do with each script I get, and this started a few years ago, but well, actually started in college. Anyway, I'll go through and I'll find all the things that I don't understand, and I'll really dig deep and I'll research everything. And then I like to see what applies to my character and how I can use that to make something. It's fun.
No, that's lovely. See, I my sister, when she did theater, she was always like, I hate that. And I'm like, well, it's a pain in the ass, but it is needed. Like I need to hammer down what I am or am not doing. And it's like, okay, so this guy is not talking with any twang. They don't have this nervous habit that I've embedded. Director doesn't want that, so I'm reworking that because everyone's rejected that, you know. And there's nothing worse when you want to talk editing. If you guys, who here has seen the TV show 24? Okay, so special features are dynamite. Those get an A- just alone because listening to the commentary tracks, they would always talk about what subplots they would omit. They're like, "Ooh, that's a mistake we unintentionally redid from last season. Let's omit that." And they had this one character who was stalking another character, but they omitted a lot of that because it just was becoming formulaic. But it's so funny if you look for it, you can still kind of see it. So it's a great example of actor's intent versus editor's intent versus director and writer's intent. It's just so funny what stuff just ends up in there. I one time was doing a prison PSA for a friend, and someone who had actually been to prison was like, I hate how that prisoner is looking at that other prisoner. I was like, well, it brought in a great question. Is like, I thought the prison guard and prisoner actor did a good job, but they saw something different. I don't know if that just says something more about that person just seeing something that's not there, or maybe we unintentionally created a new illusion. So have you guys ever had to kind of do something like that where it's like you do this, you know, theater presentation or this, you know, film short and someone's seeing something that you just don't see and you're like, well, what do I compromise now? Do I just cut that out so I stop having this awful conversation, or do I play it a different way or try a different edit?
I think that's one of the benefits of all of us being involved from so many different angles. You know, that we all wear a lot of different hats and we all have a lot of us have other careers that we're contributing. And so I think we're all viewing it from a different angle. And that's been really interesting because the feedback that we're getting brings a new perspective from everyone.
I'm sure you've seen it in design where you're like, you got something risque from that ad? No.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
Like, get your head out of the
I
gutter.
see it one way, or you know, we have to, you know, from a graphic design perspective, you know, we look for, you know, the things that, you know, might be risque in ads. And you know,
my dad does digital marketing for websites, and he had to share stories.
I find it all the time. But somebody else, you know, like when, you know, other people are bringing in their perspectives on that. And so I think it's a fun group project that a lot of us didn't know each other going into this and can all contribute in a variety of ways.
And you guys all have this great unspoken camaraderie. That's great. I was once fortunate enough to meet the head of Sony Pictures ImageWorks do a talk at my college. And before he went on a rant about how he hated George Lucas, it was actually a pretty cool chat. You know, his company won the Oscar for the X-ray security at the airport in the original Total Recall. And he talked about he had lost count of how many clients who would come up to him and say, can you make these effects not look like garbage? Doesn't tell me what I can do better. So we are growing, we're trying to be a constructive podcast. We've had everybody on here from fitness experts to mental health consultants. This is never easy. So, well, let's just circle around. What are some tips for besides having a thick skin, just how do you get past the unhelpful criticism and just come at something differently? Like, how do you remodel, reshape? Or some good reset tips, like for when you're getting unhelpful feedback, but you know something still needs to be modified a bit or changed up.
From my perspective, which is clothing and costumes and things like that, I always, if I'm getting unhelpful feedback, I always try to reframe my question. And like, I have ADHD, I have to make sure that my thoughts are totally understood. So I usually over talk and overshare to make sure someone else understands.
We don't have this conversation again. Yeah.
Yeah. So if I'm not getting any feedback that's being helpful, I will just keep pressing and be like, okay, that's not helping me. I'm going to rephrase my question to see if I can probe deeper and have you tell me something. Or I try to get them to explain things to me in their way to see, okay, is this what you want? Or do you want something that's completely different? And try to meet in the middle somehow.
I hear you. I used to have some other colleagues on this podcast who would go to town about I love or hate this filmmaker or sports star, and to make this not be a rant, I just let them have it. I just remain neutral, and I was like, well, you clearly believe in this. You're not wrong. It's just funny how you just have to say it. You're not wrong. Shuts everybody down. It's like, because even if they think it's not a challenge, they approach it like it's one. It's like, well, you firmly believe this. No one's changing your mind. This isn't political. This is you and what you see in this talent. So just let's move on. You're going to be here all day. We got to come to some conclusion. Like when Bree messes with her cats, they reject the food. So eventually you say, okay, well, I tried that probiotic.
They want to be stars. They want to be stars.
So what's your cat's name?
This one is Ghost.
Ooh,
and the other one, and this one is Romeo.
Oh,
yeah, they're about 6 months old.
I knew another cat, Romeo.
So, yes.
I have Kirby and Shadow are my cats. A gray one and a black one.
Love it.
Mrs. McGillicuddy.
What's his name?
Mrs. McGillicuddy.
Mrs. McGillicuddy. Okay.
Mrs. McGillicuddy.
I have Salem and Elspeth, which my husband named after Magic the Gathering.
Nice.
Magic the Gathering. See?
Nice.
Yeah.
I love that. And do you ever have other inside stuff? Like my sister has named her car Zardoz after the infamous Sean Connery movie. You ever have other inside stuff like that? Like the fridge's name is,
Well, our dog's name is Iskander, which is like the the Babylonian version of Alexander.
Oh, nice.
Very niche.
We just call him Xander. It's fine.
Xander, not after the excellent actor Xander Berkeley. I got it. Okay, cool. Awesome.
No.
I named my first car Ralph.
Perfect.
73 Maverick.
We had a Maine Coon named Fezzik. Princess Bride fans will get that, but it went beyond the name. We were just like, this doesn't look like a pheasant.
It's a really, really large cat. Yeah. You are the Goon Squad.
Anybody want a peanut?
Oh man!
I said no more rhymes.
No more rhymes. Oh man! So on James, again, I'm familiar with a lot of his movies. I surprisingly have, I have seen White Boys. I actually dug the final season, and both Gil and I for this episode saw 16 to Life. That was a fun movie, And
I came across. I mean, I'd known for years that James was an actor.
I had heard of Dead Awake. That was a big horror movie with Nick Stahl and Rose McGowan, and he's now in a new drama with Lance Henriksen and Lindsay Wagner. So,
but
yeah,
I was just going to tell the story. And just last year, my wife and I'm cooking dinner. My wife is looking at trailers on Paramount Plus to see what movies we might want to watch.
You recognized his voice, or did you
I heard a voice. And I'm like, wait a minute, hon, rewind that. That sounded familiar to me. and it was James, and that's 16 to Life, and he's playing the main character's dad, and he's trying to give her a taser.
He only has
for
a
her
few
birthday.
scenes, and he's leaning heavily into the comedy.
I forgot he was in that movie. Yeah, that one of my college buddies is in that movie. But that was one of the first movies when Iowa, the brief window that Iowa had a very, very too generous film tax credit. That was one of the first films that got made with that program.
Oh, lovely. See, this is good to know too. I see so many people, they don't want to know how stuff is made. They just were like, who's in it? And so why do you think everyone's gotten to that? I don't think it's even necessarily get my attention anymore. It's like they feel like the magic will be wrecked. And if they do reveal it, it's taken a negative connotation with, like, for instance, none of us here can stand Cinema Sins because they kind of have all this false comedy dressing up their baseless critique. Is like, good grief. You're not going to see any of these mistakes unless you watch any movie more than 20 times, you know? You're not going to see the key grip hiding behind, the actress unintentionally. You're not going to see the actor flubbing his line unless you really are paying that much attention. It's just amazing how people want to just, it's either got to be ego stroking or it's got to be just, I put you down. It's just like, why not just observational, fun trivia? I don't know, but this has been great talking with all you guys because, like, I'm not. It's just camaraderie. It's a big. You guys are kind of. I was fortunate enough to talk to these guys who are based in Austin, Texas, called the Cineducks, and they actually have a duck mascot and everything, and they would help each other out with everything: short films, 48-hour contests. How would you say you guys have evolved the most? Again, you're giving it your best shot. You worn many hats, and you already have kind of your formula down, and now you're seeing what you can do better or what you got to work on. What do you think has evolved the most, though?
I mean, getting to know each other, I think, has helped a lot. I think we've all gotten a little bit more comfortable with knowing our role and when to step in.
No outsiders or stranger in a strange land.
Yeah, and then we all kind of know our secret superpower, I guess.
Hey.
So we call on each other when needed, and then that we know who's the person to step up for what needs to be done.
I love it. How is James as a sheriff? I'm not going to ask for any plot details. I'm going to see this movie, I promise. But
pretty awesome,
would you see him as a sheriff?
He's really good.
The question might be for Cheyenne, how is he as a husband?
Oh. Hey,
Or is he?
Oh, hey.
That's for the movie. Spoilers.
Exactly.
William, the script, is it based somewhat on like that short story?
It is.
It is.
Yes.
Of the same title, yeah.
That's a good transition. I love that. So you, it's a short story. It was inspired. Did you look at any other like headlines or other social commentary to illustrate this tale, or?
Oh yeah. So I mean, the original short story from 1917. It was originally a one-act play called Trifles. That was published in 1916, and then she took some feedback to change the title to Jury of Her Peers and adapted it himself into this short story so that it could be published in national magazines, which it was. That's really where the story became famous. But it's been adapted many times. The one-act play has been adapted on stage many times. So there's a lot of dramaturgy out there in terms of theatrical analysis, reviews of performances, and then the short story itself has been adapted. Alfred Hitchcock did an episode of Alfred Hitchcock Presents, his television show, did an episode that was based off Jury of Her Peers.
I love this. See, so many people are just going to hold back or just be like, I don't know, man. I love movies. It's like you named just like 3 different big key indicators. And what I think I like about James's persona, and he's been great on email, and I've been seeing just on-screen persona. I'm kind of getting that feel too, also from what we saw in the trailer. Is just like I think I got a huge sense of going beyond even just the material and looking theatrical. Is like it seems like you guys really did all want to play off each other without losing track of the story.
Yeah, I mean, so when the original version of the script, everybody when you're writing a script, you always have an actor in mind. I mean, you just have to picture somebody in that role. And when I first started writing it, the sheriff was Colin Farrell. And then by the end, it became Brett Goldstein, who plays Roy Kent on Ted Lasso.
Nice.
Just that gruffness.
I don't know if you can get that many F-bombs in this production, but no, I see what you
definitely not.
I see what you mean. That's great.
But when it came time to casting it, then we ended up to where it's like James was interested in it, and I'm like, okay. I mean, if James Serpento wants to be in my movie, I'm going to find a way to put James Serpento in my movie. So, so I offered him the role of the sheriff, and he's older than the part is originally written. And I think some people would probably be afraid of that, but it really allowed us to do some amazing things with his character, because we said, okay, well, now all of a sudden this character is old, because the film is set in 1899. Suddenly this character is old enough to have served in the Civil War. And so we built this whole backstory in his character that he went off to serve in the Civil War, came back to his hometown as a hero, and that's really how he got elected sheriff. And that he's actually maybe not that great of a sheriff. Maybe he's just been milking his small town celebrity status for 20 years. And so that's
heard it from them guys. It's Bad Day at Black Rock. Oh yeah.
Well, now I know what he looks like with a handlebar mustache. It's not something I was ever looking for, but I found out what he looks like with one.
It's a handsome mustache. So playing off Stephanie Schneider, she's she's a cool cat who's worn so many different hats. She's done fan films. She's got another movie that came out a few years back. It's a coming of age movie where she deals with like a brain traumatized mother of hers called Between the Lines, that I'd love to see, but it's not streaming anywhere. How was it framing her scenes and acting off of her?
Yeah, I mean, I would let Cheyenne or Bree speak to that.
Right.
Yeah, almost all of my scenes are with Cheyenne and Stephanie. So I've had the great pleasure of working off of two very talented female actresses. And it's been, they've done more film than I have. I have young kids, and I've been kind of out of the scene for a while. And so it's been fun learning from their experiences.
I feel your pain, though.
Yeah.
Tell it when I come away from this podcast, I have to tell people, okay, pretend time. Just let us have 2 hours of fun. I promise I'll be down.
Yeah, mine are staying up late tonight, so it's what it is. We're out of school tomorrow. It's fine. It's fine.
Lovely.
But yeah, it's been a lot of fun getting to know them as people, and also having them as scene partners. That's been very rewarding.
That's great. For those who want to see more, she does have a film reel, and it is awesome. So Amy, when you were coming up with like the schedules and everything, isn't it just so relieving how like there are no questions? Like everybody knows where they clock in, where they.
Yeah, there's no questions.
We filmed today.
No questions. Yeah, no hiccups, no schedule changes. Everything was beautiful.
Has anyone come in to read with someone, even if they weren't shooting a scene that day?
No, we never did have any of that. And, knock on wood, I am going to say this very proudly, because this is the first film I've ever done this for. We are pretty much hitting schedule. on schedule 100%.
Hey, I love it.
To last day. So yeah, very excited about that. I'm telling you, this cast and crew is the most amazing group of people. Everybody just was very communicative. Everybody was great about letting us know if there were issues with anything they had going on. With the schedule, everybody was very flexible with the schedule. Everybody was very patient with me as I learned how to do schedules and call sheets and sides and learned the language and all of that kind of stuff. So it's been amazing.
What tip do you have for that? Like, it seems like so many people I've seen in management, they're unable to take notes. It's like, well, write this down, write that down. You just killed 5 questions with 1 stone,
Yeah, it's been quite interesting, and organization, I guess, is a strength of mine, which I didn't really know I had at this level. There's software out there that helps too.
Yeah,
that helps you do all
Excel,
that. So
yep.
learning new computer stuff is always good. It keeps your brain nimble. So yeah.
Well, that's the beauty too. A lot of this can be done on any software. You just send it out and people see.
It's goofy and great, and yeah, honestly, I don't know what I would have done if it would have been a different group, because they were very kind and patient.
That's lovely. And I take it you did a bit of line producing as well, like the scenes being shot on this day.
Yes, I did all of that. I did
budget.
all of the scheduling and coordinating of production for the most part.
I love it.
And had all of our PAs there and tried to figure out who was doing sound which days and which one of our cast or our costume people were going to be there to help, and did we have makeup, and if we didn't have makeup, who was doing makeup, and
right?
all of those things.
Riddle me this: why do not enough people talk about all these other shortcuts? Like, I'm sure John and William heard of this, a shot script where you go through the entire thing and you just note the kind of shots you want in each scene on the script. And I'm sure all our cast here has maybe highlighted their lines at one point or another. It's just easier for the eye,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Why don't we work?
John, I know John started going through the script and making and adding his what shots he wanted where.
Or maybe it's a shot script. Yeah, it's a.
We always get to set and then be like, oh wait, this room is much smaller than we pictured in our heads. Everything that we just wrote down in the shot,
God's eye view is now shoulder.
We can film a scene with the camera is like this now, but or we can reimagine how we were going to film it.
Is that how the cough got invented?
Yes.
Oh wow! Hey.
Yes, the cough shot, close up as fuck, is the cough shot.
I have not heard of this. That's great. I love it. But see, that's the other thing too. It is funny, just all these other they don't always necessarily have an off-color name, but it is just so funny telling people these inside jokes. And
martini shots.
I take it you've had. Have you ever had a boom operator do a play on the Sade song? Smooth. Boom operator. And even test out the sound.
I don't think any of our boom operators were old enough to know that song.
There is that.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a great song. But
it is a great song.
It's so funny though. You talk about these other things and like people don't get it, and they look at you like you're on another world. I made an apple cart or a wheelchair joke, and my sister got it. Like for just discounted camera tracking shots that are still effective on a budget, but she mainly got the apple cart joke. She's like, "Oh yes, everybody does that at one point or another."
Yep.
And for anyone getting into these, what kinds of genres do you think you would recommend for anyone else getting into this? Like George Romero always talked about, the whole one location and hire some of your friends in unimportant roles. What are the most skill sets you guys think you've taken away with the most? And I hope this doesn't sound redundant, but it is really, I legit love hearing this because you know it's not good if no one's got anything to say that they learned. Like, hey, I made a friend on that awful movie, or I learned that I'm overthinking this motivation, need to focus more on how I'm speaking. It's funny hearing your highs and lows. Like all the cast here, it seems like you guys have really stepped into, you're comfortable with these kinds of roles and you know what level you're at, and you just want to keep challenging yourself at this point. If I don't know if that's a fair assessment, you tell me. I'm just observing. Yes, no, maybe.
Yeah.
The only thing I will say, I guess for starting and beginning, having again that entry point into 48 hour is keeping the story, like trying to keep everything as simple as possible. You mentioned less locations. Whatever you can do to keep it simple, there's a lot of power that can come within.
I love it.
A very
Power.
short, a very short plot and a very short story. You can create a lot of emotion out of that. And I think oftentimes when we're starting out, we feel like we have to pack it in with so much more stuff, whereas you can expand upon the story and upon that like emotion and feeling that's happening within, a short synopsis so much more.
You've actually layered it. You've gotten rid of any complexity or doubt. And I love it when I hear that, because Gil and I were actually doing this. Like I showed him some of the ideas I was having. Is like, I thought this would have been a great web series. Let's make this an audio drama. Less stuff to focus on.
Yeah,
We got to just work on the sound design. We know what we want from the format. It'd just be easier. And if anything else that happens from there, we can go from there. But then
we do that in the design world too. It's like, you design the thing and you over design it, and then you're like, okay, what can I take away from it so it's still impactful, powerful?
Yeah, you might lay that you want this animal to talk about this product you're advertising. Well, let's do that when we get for another project, just not this one.
Yep.
Not saying your idea is terrible, but let's just push it to the side for now and come back, revisit it when we're. You might say, I don't want to do that. Sorry, go ahead.
One of the things I learned, and some of us may not have expected early on, Will did something super cool, super smart, knowing that we may all need it at some point. But he had a fight coordinator come in and
lovely.
Hey, every single one of the characters, you guys will have to watch the movie, but we all at some point needed that training. It just kept us so much safer in any of the stuff that we did. So that was cool.
I love hearing stuff like that. Did he also, I take it, have like a stage combat background? Or
yes,
perfect. It is always so fun. It's like, make contact, don't actually punch me. It
wasn't just about the fight either. It's how to safely fall, how to safely move, that type of stuff too.
I can't tell you how many times I've been there. I would get actors who wanted to just fight because it was cool. I'm like, oh, there's no reason. We're wasting time. There's got to be a reason. It's so funny having to explain it to people, like the motivation. Like, I'm sure it does look cool, but ultimately, why are we doing this?
And then you got one take that you can use, and then you're done. Right?
Yeah.
That's like you want to choreograph it so you can do it again and again safely.
Right?
Yeah.
No kidding. It's like, you're going to be worn out. You don't want the take that's usable to be one where you're breaking a sweat,
or a leg.
Unusable. The great Scott Brazil, who, if you look him up, every show that your parents, and probably your aunts and uncles have probably seen, everything from freaking Hill Street Blues to Jag to Hunter. His last great contribution to small screen was the crooked cop show, The Shield. Every actor he was working with was either a has-been or someone up and coming. And to get them comfortable, he just always asked them, where do you think you are in the scene? He answered a question with a question, and that gave them all the motivation they needed for all those interrogation rooms and psychological mental breakdowns. for a claustrophobic show, not a single person played a prank on each other or was a dick to each other. Everybody was in it to win it, and it didn't help that their characters changed morality tells every season. So I love hearing stories like that. My heart breaks when I see that someone is like, "Hey, I like them professionally, but I will never work with their ass again." It just breaks my heart. So, how many of you also studied with each other, or were at some other mixers prior to the having designs and 48-hour contests? All coming in cold. See, I love this. See, I see so many other people who, as a result, they kind of don't want to go outside their creative collective. So it's cool that you guys are all.
There's a lot of friend of a friend kind of, like, I know Stephanie and Cheyenne have said like that they've kind of run in parallel in like indie films. Like they've always, like, they've never been able to work together, but they've always kind of been in films opposite each other for a long time.
That's great. See,
bringing them together on this project has been.
I'm friends with your neighbor now. Yeah,
it's been great.
I love it. I used to not work outside of one collective of friends I had. One of them wasn't necessarily a great actor, but we just needed somebody, and the other two were charismatic. You would never know they were also martial artists and stuntmen. And as a result, they introduced me to so many other people who had infectious charisma, and I had to get more creative. It gave me motivation to write characters. So I just love hearing these stories, how everybody, Clint, it seems like you're focused on more than just the close-ups, and everybody else is also focused on how different ways they can do these monologues, and hearing John harp on how he wants edits to be, and it's going beyond even the editing room. It's like what he was looking for versus what they got. I love seeing those kinds of, and Rachel and Amy have already hit on heavily on the marketing, and let's not overthink this. This has been twisted creative. This has been great. This is because I don't hear these kinds of stories. I hear everyone going, check it out, man. When did we become the one sentence society?
It's a creative journey.
It's a creative journey, but it's a twisted journey.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening.
It's a jacked up